Don't take these home, a post office clerk whispered as I collected my DIL's mail. What I saw. Don't take these home. The whisper was so soft I almost thought I imagined it. The post office was nearly empty, just the hum of an old ceiling fan and the faint scent of paper and dust. I had been coming here every Thursday for months. But that day, when the clerk slid the stack of envelopes across the counter and leaned in closer, her eyes didn't blink. If I were you, she murmured again, I wouldn't open those at home. My fingers tightened around the mail. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. My name is Farah. I'm 62 years old, a retired schoolteacher, and for most of my life I believed I was a good judge of character. Especially when it came to family. My son, Hassan, is my only child. After his father passed away 10 years ago, it was just the two of us in our small house on the edge of town. We survived grief together. We survived loneliness together. And when he brought home the woman he said he wanted to marry, I promised myself I would love her as my own daughter. Her name is Mare. She had soft eyes, a gentle voice, and a way of lowering her gaze when she spoke that made her seem humble. The first time she came over for dinner, she insisted on helping me in the kitchen. She complimented my cooking. She listened when I spoke. She called me Ami before the wedding had even taken place. I remember telling Hassan later that night, you chose well. And I meant it. After the wedding, they moved into the upper portion of our house. It made sense financially, and I liked having them close. The laughter returned to our home. The silence that once echoed through empty rooms softened. Mare would bring me tea in the evenings. Sometimes she would sit beside me and ask about my teaching days, about Hassan as a child. She'd laugh at the stories, resting her hand lightly on my arm. There were small things, of course. Little moments that I brushed aside. Like how she insisted on collecting her own mail at first. She said she liked staying organized. Then gradually, she stopped going to the post office altogether. It's too crowded, she'd say. Ami, would you mind picking it up for me when you go? It felt harmless. Loving someone means helping them in small ways. So I did. The post office clerk's name is Shazia. She's in her late 40s, always neat, always observant. Over time, we developed a quiet familiarity. She knew which box was ours without checking the number twice. But recently, I noticed something in her expression whenever she handed me Mare's mail. Hesitation. A flicker of concern. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe I was. But that Thursday, when she leaned forward and whispered those words, there was no mistaking it. Don't take these home. My heart began to pound. Not fast, not wildly. Just heavy. Deliberate. What do you mean? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She glanced toward the back office, then back at me. Just look at them carefully, she said. Before you open them there. There. At home. The word lingered between us like smoke. I walked back slowly that day. The sun felt unusually harsh, the light too bright. The stack of envelopes felt heavier than paper should. My hands were damp. As I reached our gate, I paused. Why would she say that? Was it about privacy? Maybe she thought it was wrong for me to collect my daughter-in-law's mail. Maybe she was judging me. But Shazia didn't seem judgmental. She seemed worried. Inside the house, everything looked normal. The curtains swayed gently. I could hear Mare upstairs on a phone call, her voice soft and controlled. I placed the mail on the dining table. 5 envelopes. 3 were standard utility bills. 1 was a bank statement. And the last one, thicker, cream-colored, had unfamiliar markings. Not a bank, not a utility company, a logo I didn't recognize. I stared at it longer than the others. Why did my chest feel tight? I told myself I was being foolish. Paranoid. Suspicious without reason. Mare had never given me a reason not to trust her. She cared for my son. She respected me. She remembered my medicines when I forgot. On my birthday last month, she surprised me with a shawl in my favorite shade of blue. Trust isn't built overnight. It's woven slowly, through shared meals, shared grief, shared laughter. And yet, why had she stopped collecting her own mail? Why did some envelopes arrive without a return address? Why did she once snatch a letter gently but quickly from my hands and say, "Oh, this is just promotional nonsense," before I could even glance at it? That memory surfaced now, sharper than before. I didn't open anything that evening. I couldn't. Instead, I carried the stack upstairs and knocked softly on their door. Mare opened it with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Ami, you're back. You got them. Yes, I said, watching her closely. Everything. For a fraction of a second, barely noticeable, her gaze flicked to the cream envelope in my hand. Then back to my face. Too quick, too controlled. Thank you, she said, reaching out. Our fingers brushed as I handed them over. Her hand was colder than usual. Is everything all right? I asked gently. She held my gaze for a moment longer than necessary. Of course, Ami. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? Such a simple sentence, but it echoed in my mind long after I returned to my room. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every small memory replayed itself differently. The time she asked if Hassan's name was ever added to the house paperwork after his father passed. The way she once casually inquired about my savings, saying she wanted to help us invest better. The phone calls she took outside on the balcony. I had told myself it was modern life. Private matters. Young couples have their own concerns. But now, Shazia's whisper wouldn't leave me alone. Don't take these home. What had she seen? What did she know? The next morning, I made a decision I'm still not proud of. When Mare left to visit her sister, I went upstairs. Not to search, not to accuse, just to look. On the bedside table, beneath a magazine, lay the cream-colored envelope. Unopened. Why hadn't she opened it immediately if it was important? My hands trembled as I picked it up. The paper felt thick, official. My name wasn't on it. Neither was Hassan's. It was addressed only to her. I hesitated. This was a line I had never crossed before. But something inside me, something older than pride, older than etiquette, whispered back. Look carefully. Before you open them there. My thumb slipped under the seal. And just as the paper began to tear, I heard the front door downstairs open. In Mare's voice, I forgot my purse, she called out. Her footsteps were already on the stairs. And I was still standing there, holding the envelope. To be continued. Don't take these home, a post office clerk whispered as I collected my DIL's mail, what I saw. The sound of Mare's footsteps on the stairs froze me in place. My hands, still clutching the cream-colored envelope, felt heavier than lead. My mind raced. Should I hide it, drop it, pretend it wasn't there? But the moment had passed. She was already at the landing, smiling down at me like nothing had shifted in our lives. Ami, she paused, her eyes flicking slightly toward the envelope. That flicker, barely noticeable, was all it took. I swallowed hard. Mare, I said quietly, trying to steady my voice, this came in your mail yesterday. The post office clerk seemed concerned. She said, my voice faltered. She said not to take it home. I thought maybe I should check. Mare froze. Her hand, holding the strap of her purse, twitched for a moment. Then she laughed softly, a nervous, forced sound. Oh, Ami, she said, voice light, too light. Shazia always worries about everything. She probably just saw the thick envelope and overreacted. Her eyes darted down toward the envelope. That was it, the subtle, almost imperceptible hesitation. The small pause that didn't match her words. I nodded slowly, trying to swallow the unease curling in my chest. Maybe you're right, I said. And yet, something told me I wasn't. Later that evening, I couldn't concentrate on anything. Hassan was at work, oblivious to the storm brewing quietly in our home. I tried reading, but every word blurred as the memory of Shazia's whisper and Mare's fleeting hesitation replayed in my mind. I couldn't leave it, I couldn't. Finally, I made a choice I had never imagined making. I opened the envelope. Inside was a set of documents, carefully folded. My eyes skimmed the first page, and I felt my stomach drop. It was a letter. From a law office. Not about property. Not about bills. It was about Hassan. The words were calm, professional, but every line cut through me like ice. Inquiries about finances, unusual transactions, and references to a company I had never heard of. I flipped the pages, my pulse pounding. Each detail seemed small on its own, but together they painted a picture I couldn't yet fully understand. And then I saw it, a document with signatures I recognized. Mare's. She had been doing something hidden, something I couldn't quite process. A shadow fell across my face as I heard the soft creak of the stairs again. Ami, her voice called from the landing. Are you all right? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Instead, I clutched the envelope to my chest and sank into the chair by the window, staring out at the darkening sky. The quiet of the evening pressed in around me. Then the soft click of the door opening downstairs. Hassan had returned. He called out, cheerful, unaware. Ami, Mare, I'm home. I swallowed hard. Should I tell him? Could I? Before I could decide, the front door slammed shut upstairs, and footsteps receded. Mare had disappeared again, and in that moment, the truth began to crystallize in my mind. There was a side to Mare I hadn't seen. A part she had carefully hidden from me. Everything she had done, the smiles, the concern, the quiet gestures of love, they were all part of a mask. A mask that was slipping. The next morning, Shazia called me at home. Her voice was tense. Farah, you shouldn't have opened them yet, she said, hurriedly. Whatever you saw, don't confront her. Not yet, just watch, you'll understand, slowly. It's safer that way. Shazia, my voice trembled. What is happening? What does she want with Hassan? Farah, some things you can't rush. Just be careful, and trust your instincts. After the call, I sat in silence. Instincts. That word rang through me like a bell. All the small inconsistencies, the little questions I had pushed aside, the fleeting discomfort, I should have listened earlier. But now it was too late to ignore it. The tension in the house grew unbearable over the next few days. Mare acted normal, perfectly composed, but I noticed the subtle changes. The way she always seemed to know when I was near, the way her laughter sometimes didn't reach her eyes, the way Hassan would glance at her with trust that made my chest ache. One evening, I returned from the market to find her in the living room, sitting perfectly still. The envelope was gone. Where is it? I asked, my voice low. Her smile was slow, deliberate. Oh, that, I put it away. No need to worry, Ami. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust the woman I had welcomed into my family. But deep inside, something was breaking. A quiet, insistent nod of fear. And then, as if to confirm every unspoken suspicion, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You're too close. Stop digging, or you'll regret it. My hands shook. I looked at Mare, sitting across from me, serene and calm, unaware of the storm she had stirred. And I realized, everything was about to change. Everything. And I didn't know if I could stop what was coming next.